welcome to today's episode of the Group Therapy Podcast. Today we have special co-host, the Tina that you all hear stories about. And if you go back to the early episodes, you can actually see Tina. And one of our favorite people on the planet, Erin Ryan.
Hey!
She's back after a long absence. Erin, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't watched a movie in a while, so I've been going through my old stuff, going on Tubi, going on Plex, watching some of your old stuff, and at the shop. And sometimes I have to fast forward here and there, and, and then I got like friends like Brett Holt, who's like, "Who's that girl?" And I'm like, "That's my friend Erin, Brett. You need to stay away from her."
Aw. Well, it's flattering. I appreciate it.
I love Brent to death, but
Paul to everybody.
Yeah, but Brent is he's a trip.
That's good though. It's interesting.
Yeah, he's a musician. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, differing personalities. Interesting personalities for sure.
Oh yes,
definitely.
Very creative personality. There you go. That's a good.
We had a discussion today because he came in and we had a discussion about. I was like, how long have we known each other? And I was like, probably about 30 years, right? And he's like, at least 28. I was like, yeah, so about 30 years.
Right. Let's just round up at this point.
So that was the thing the other day too. I was sitting there trying to think. I was like, man, when did I meet Erin? And I'm like doing the math in my head. And then we were talking about Bludgeon being 11 years ago. And then I'm thinking about, I'm like, did I meet you on Bulldog for Christmas? Or did I meet you at
No, before that.
Before that, yeah. So
Had to have been, before that, but I don't remember exactly when. Was it a premiere or something like that?
It was at a premiere, I believe.
Yeah, it could have been.
Because that's where I met a lot of you. I mean, I met Henrik because of Andy, and then I met Eric because of Andy, and then because of Andy, I met like a just absolute metric butt ton of people, and then I met more people through Henrik, and then then finding out that the whole entire time I had friends who were friends with Henrik that I did not know were friends with Henrik.
Right.
It's weird how that happens.
Yeah, it just keeps.
It's exciting. You're like, because then you have something to talk about like right away.
Yeah. And I was like, well, do you know him? Oh, yeah, I worked together. And I was like, I did an interview with and we're like, we were in the same movie together, but we never met because, you make a movie and my scenes were filmed long before their scenes, I guess, or one of the other way around. So,
yeah, I think some people think that film is like chronological, like when you film it, and it's just never that way. Like I don't think I've ever worked in anything that's been chronological like that. It's just impossible. There are too many factors.
Oh, I don't think I realized that until going with you and watching them just do scenes. Yeah. So I had no idea until that point.
Yeah, you film. That's like a lot of people don't realize that they're like some of these big movies that are like like the Lord of the Rings stuff. That all three of those movies were filmed simultaneously. So they filmed scenes from like the third movie after filming scenes from the first movie, then film scenes from the second movie back to, and it just all this stuff, and people don't get it. It's
so complex.
Like talking to Jim about how he would just take footage from other movies or other.
we talked to Jim Winarski, the guy, and it's so funny because when I wanted, before you had, we were trying to have you at the con, and Jim's like, so who was supposed to be here? And I was like, oh, this is my friend Ryan. Erin, and he's like, oh, she's pretty. You need to work with her.
Oh, that's the sweetest.
I'm like, that's
amazing.
Jim's a trip.
He's funny.
Oh my God.
He seems really fun.
He's an old guy. He don't mix words with anything.
I mean, why would you care?
Exactly.
It's so funny. We rolled up at McDonald's and he's like, you know how they always go, oh, would you like to round up for, and he's like, no, you ain't using my money to make sure you save me. And I'm like, it was only like 5 cents, but he still told him, like,
you're like, okay,
Jim.
It's Jim being Jim.
Yep. But and then you did Calamity Jane's Revenge.
Yes.
With Al Snow. I want to say Albert Snow.
I like Albert Snow. It's like classy.
One Albert Snow. Well, what's funny about him is that I'm friends with his former son-in-law. So
oh wow. Yeah, because he's from like Lima, right?
yep.
Or he lives there now, or
yeah, he's in
still
Lima.
okay.
He's down in Cincinnati area now.
Okay.
He used to come in the video store when I worked at Hollywood Video in Troy.
Weird. Oh, Hollywood Video.
Yeah, Hollywood Video.
My part.
Yeah.
see, I'm not. That's how I knew you guys blew up. Not a Hollywood Video, but I'm legitimately walking through Family Video before they start closing them, and I walk through and there's Calamity Jane's Revenge, Bulldog for Christmas, and there's all these. I'm like, huh? What the hell you know? It's a Family Video.
Really surreal. Yeah.
and it's so funny now because now we're on, because you got Tubi and Plex and stuff, and now you click on that and it goes to who's in the movies. And I'm like, I know that person. That one's been in my house.
Right? Yeah, that's exciting. You're like, oh no.
So how do you feel that it's worldwide now with Tubi and Plex and stuff, and your movies are out there everywhere?
I'll tell you what. This is like a what do I want to say? A timely question, because like I was flipping through Tubi the other day and I just saw Bulldog like sandwiched in between like two like major movies, and I was like, what? I was so excited. I was like, I never thought it would be just something that would be in a category that I would click on. I always thought that I would have to like search for it, but it was under comedy. And so it was just in the category, and I was just very excited about that because I always thought, again, it would be something that I would have to like search my name or like search, a director or a title, and it was just there, and I was just like, okay. Like it's been years since I've made that movie, but at the same time, it's very close to they're close to my heart, and it feels very there's a sense of pride there. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we made it. Like so many other people can see it, and it feels good to be able to do that, to see that.
Well, the only one I'm disappointed is that I loaned out my copy of Slumber Party Slaughterhouse or Slaughterhouse. I get
Slaughterhouse Slumber Party.
There you go.
Yeah.
I loaned out my copy.
No.
And I never got it back.
No.
And now you cannot get that movie. Where?
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah.
Yeah, I've even like reached out to people and like that I knew had copies, and I'm like, dude, I'm like, yeah, like, do you have an extra copy? And they're like, no, I just have the one. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that movie is super fun.
Oh yeah, and that's got my favorite line reading from you ever.
Oh, good.
That's when you're like, nope, not.
Yeah. That was a really fun character. There was a lot of me in that character for sure. Like a lot of the reactions, the video interviews and stuff it's definitely something I would say. So that was kind of fun.
I remember Tina and I went and you were there. I mean, we went to the premiere, and I laughed so hard at that scene. It's like,
oh yeah,
you were so deadpan, and it was just comedy gold for the.
Thank you. Honestly, I am not very comfortable with comedy. If it's horror comedy, I'm pretty good, but like, because I love horror comedy, and it's just something that feels more natural to me. But like straight up comedy, I don't know. It's just like it's difficult for me. I get intimidated by it.
I've heard that with a lot of people, that comedy, because if comedy's done right, it's fantastic, but it's so hard to get right. And we've seen that with big budget movies. They'll take a great premise and they'll fumble it. And you're like, how do you fumble that?
But I think the key is, you talked about it being your own personality too. And when you have naturally, that makes a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
It helped a lot. Yeah. I was like, oh, I can easily relate to this. I know this because I am this kind of. So, I think my friend said the key to being funny in a film is look at the script and just be literal. Don't think about how it's going to be funny. Just the script is already written, and it's already kind of all there. So just play it like seriously, but of course you're being funny, but just play the character and it'll just come out naturally because of the way it's written and everything. And it's been really good advice, because I think that's completely true. So trust the script, trust your director. They know what they're doing usually. So usually. So I think a lot of times I just overthought it, so going forward, hopefully I won't overthink it as much, because that can cause a big problem.
See, one of these days we'll finally get to work together, and you'll realize that the director doesn't normally necessarily have it together in any way, shape, or form.
You got this. You got this.
Mine is I can never get out of my own head when I write something.
Yeah.
And I get I've sitting there talking to a writer that does our cons all the time, and I'm like, how do you do this? He goes, because he's got a ton of books out, and he goes, sometimes I can knock out a few books a year, and he goes, sometimes it takes me a while. He said, so he's working on something. I was like, have you ever just thrown something away? And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, I had one book I worked on, I had 183 pages or somewhere around that ballpark, and I just chucked it.
No.
Hated it. Didn't like it. Threw it away.
Oh, no.
I've thrown away entire scripts that I didn't like. And everybody's like, how do you do that? I'm like, if I don't like something, I'm done with it. I don't want to do it. I wrote a script years ago, and now I'm not in that same place now, and now I don't want to do it. I grew up in an era of the rape revenge film. So I grew up on,
Spit on Your Grave.
Spit on Your Grave, Gator Bait, all those. So I wrote one called Snow Angel. And now that I'm not in that really dark place anymore, I don't want to do it. I'm just walked away from it. I was like, I don't need it. I'm good. And
that's tough. It's because it might be a wonderful, wonderful idea at the time, but then as you maybe I don't want to say mature, because I'm sure you were mature at the time, but you know what I mean? You grow. Well,
She was trying to be nice.
I know she's trying to be, no, I just matured. I'm 50, and I
matured when?
I kind of got my crap together. That's about it.
I mean, that's good.
Barely.
You want to be kind of have kid wonder and stuff, because that's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
To keep that in your heart. But as you get older and you start to grow and you have different experiences, I think that happens. It happens. And that's okay. But the thought of you throwing something away that you wrote, you were creative with, hurts my heart a little. So maybe one day you'll revisit. But
I still have notes on stuff, so I never throw away the entire idea.
Gotcha.
It's stuff that I've written with other people in mind, or and then I had a falling out with that person or something like that, and I'm like,
yeah. Sometimes I can taint it. You're like, I don't know.
I still there's one I've got little bits and pieces of it, and I thought about doing it as a web series, and it's about a crazy guy who doesn't know he's crazy, but he runs a shop like mine, and the whole entire time he talks to things, and you think he's and I have other people don't see it, but I'm gonna have puppets being the other voices in his head. So the whole entire time, but I was gonna have him being weird stuff. I wanted a Skeletor looking puppet that looked like Skeletor from He-Man, but I don't know if I could even get away with it. So I would just have a giant skull, and would never call him Skeletor or nothing. Just have him
You could make it just different enough.
Just different enough. Because I think at that point, does it become parody or satire? So I think you might be able to get away with it.
You might be able to. That's an interesting. I don't know what the lines are with that, but you could probably figure it out.
But I write all this goofy stuff, and then it just sort of sits around in notebooks, and if it sees the light of day, it sees the light of day.
Yeah, it's your collection.
It is. And it's so you've done. You're still young, and you've done so many movies. I was looking at your list, and it was just damn, and you did them all very fast.
I did. Yeah, I've slowed down quite a bit.
Your last one was Jackass Flats.
Yeah, that's actually in editing right now. But yeah, it's I'm not sure when it's going to be available, but because editing we got one person editing, so it's taken a very long time. It'll be great though. I'm really excited about it. speaking of comedy, that was straight up comedy. It's a Western comedy. So I was very intimidated by that.
You know, that's the funny thing about it. You've done horror, and you did the Western, and you've even been the monster in movies.
Yes.
Which is just insane to wrap your head around, because you look at you and you're Erin, and you're like, you're the monster, and it's crazy. Well, the best one was you're in I guess I'm gonna do a spoiler on a movie that's 11 years old, is Bludgeon, and you're just out and out just the killer.
Yeah.
And it's so weird knowing you, and you're like,
why?
What?
See,
but you can you can do the crazy eyes.
Yes, that was a big. That's something I definitely wanted to convey. I think it is all in the eyes sometimes when you want to do something like that.
How fun is that?
I'm sorry.
How fun is that?
It's so fun because playing the villain or playing somebody really scary is really interesting. Especially because I try not to be scary. I try to be friendly, and that's just my natural way of being. But it's fun to explore darkness, because we all have darkness in us.
Oh yeah.
Some of us, it's more apparent than others, but I've always been interested in that kind of thing. When I was little, I always legitimately always wanted to be a vampire. I've always been attracted to like horror stuff. Did I ever tell you guys? I don't think I did. The story about when, this is kind of an offshoot of what we're talking about, but this is how badly I wanted to be a vampire. It's how I lost my 2 front teeth.
No, you haven't told us that.
Okay, I'm going to tell you because it's a fun story. So I was little. I think I was like 5 years old. I was very young, and I decided I've been watching like vampire stuff because my parents let me do that because they were cool, and I wanted to be a vampire so bad that I was like, okay, I have the cape, because they bought me a little Halloween cape, for the costume and everything. I was like, I got like black clothes. And I was like, what am I just missing? I'm missing the teeth. I'm missing the teeth. What do I do? And for like days, I was obsessed with figuring out how to get vampire teeth. And I was like, I don't want the plastic ones because you can tell they're fake. Like I was really obsessed with it. And one day I was watching a Bugs Bunny cartoon. And unfortunately, in this particular cartoon, Bugs was sharpening his teeth with a wheel. So what do I do in my brain? I turn over my tricycle wheel and I start spinning it real fast. And I just put my face right, like, boom, with my teeth. And my teeth fell out. My mother came in like shortly after that because I was in shock. I was like, oh God. And then my mom came in and I really wasn't afraid until she started like screaming because she had no idea what happened. But that's how badly I wanted to be a vampire. And cartoons are scary. So, but yeah, I think it's kind of fun to explore that kind of thing. And acting gives you a safe place to do that, I feel like. You can carry the darkness with you sometimes, but you have to learn to sort of, pick apart
balance there.
Right. You got to like be able to like put that back in and be like, I'll deal with that later. It brought out something that I didn't know that was there. But, you got to have a healthy outlook about that kind of thing. So, and
I could definitely see that being an issue with Bludgeon.
Yeah.
Because that's
go ahead. Sorry.
That's pretty brutal at the end. So
that character, I tried when I read the script and when I talked to Sean about it, immediately I was like, this is sad. Like this girl is sad. Like she's violent, clearly, but there's a sadness behind it. And I really tried to convey that because I thought that made her, more interesting other than being like straight brutal. I just wanted her to have like a different side so you could kind of be like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, so yeah.
That's a way to put that human element in.
Yeah, and that's why like I don't love a lot of like, I'm not dogging any slashers at all, but I'm not like a real like a huge fan of slashers just because unless there's a serious backstory, like I really want to know why that person is the way that they are because we're all people. So that's the kind of stuff that I find interesting. But yeah, The Bludgeon was a trip. It was Sean is a fun director to work with because he will be like, this is kind of what I want you to do, but you can do what you want. Like he's like, just add your own. Like it's never really, at least on that film for me and the other ones we worked on together, I felt like it was never really direct. Like he was always like, he'll tell you if you like something or he doesn't like it, but it's all very like, what do you think? And and that first made me a little uncomfortable because I like clear direction, but it really helped me grow as an actor too early on. I was like, oh, I can trust myself. I can trust myself to kind of explore the character on set too. So that was really cool. But
and you got to play a werewolf.
I did.
Yeah. And for those who are watching it, we're going to be talking about this movie. It has two titles. It's Betsy and Animal Inside.
Yeah.
Animal Inside is the streaming title, and I think Betsy is the physical media title.
Right.
I had to find that out because I had to ask Sean. I'm like, why is there two titles?
You had to tell me that. I had no idea.
Yeah. And he goes, it had something to do with whoever bought the original streaming rights had to rename it for some reason. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess I can see that. Because I know a friend of mine, he does movies, and but he's a purchaser. He works for Shudder now. But he did Christmas Horror Story. And so to be released in Walmart, it has to be renamed Holiday Horror Story.
Oh.
But it's on a slip sleeve. So you pull the slip sleeve off that says Holiday, and then you get the regular Blu-ray underneath that says Christmas Horror Story.
Okay.
For Walmart reasons, because they don't want to offend people with horror Christmas. I'm like, you sell. I legitimately bought my box set of Silent Night, Deadly Night at Walmart. So I'm gonna say they're not too worried about holiday Christmas.
No, that's odd.
It doesn't say Christmas.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yep.
It might be like the Christ thing, like it might be
Could
that.
be, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But what was it? Deathgasm had to be renamed. Yeah, and it's renamed like Heavy Metal Horror Show or something like that.
Oh, so. I mean,
I kind of like Heavy Metal Horror Show. I think I like that.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that.
Although Deathgasm is a fun movie. I'm not gonna lie. I like that movie. It's hilarious.
It is really super fun. Yeah.
How did you like being the werewolf?
So, I'm gonna be honest. I've been very fortunate to play a lot of really awesome characters. But my favorite thing to do is definitely creature work. I have a background in dance, and I like to be able to really use my body when I do things because I just love, I don't know, I've just always loved that kind of thing. And whenever I do creature work, you have to really, really, think about how something other than a human would move. And I had a great time. I think it was only like a couple nights of like shoots. Like we only shot a couple nights, me anyway, because I'm the werewolf version of Betsy, so they didn't need me all the time, clearly. The makeup was very difficult. It was just a lot. Like it took a really long time to get everything on. And those nails I had were like the thickest acrylic nails. I mean, they were like 2 inches thick they were heavy and they were difficult to get off after the shoot. It was a labor of love, like on everybody's part. Cause it was just like 4 hours of makeup to get to the skin to look good. And like, it was a lot. But I love being monsters. Monsters is my favorite thing to be. And I just like it. Go ahead.
Oh, and you were a demon in Watch This.
Yeah,
another one for Sean. So
yes, for sure. The Watch This demon. Her name, I don't know if it says this in the film, but her name, or in the credits maybe, but her name is Nairi, which is just my name backwards, which I find funny. I was like, that's perfect.
There you go.
I love that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a fun one. It was kind of awkward getting all bloody, like, and being, topless. But everything was really professional and it was good. But also not a long shoot. That didn't take very long for my part anyway, but it was fun to just do like something kind of witchy and spooky. I think that was my first demon that I played. Yes.
Well, you nail so much stuff. And we had this discussion the other day because we were talking about Alone in the Ghost House.
Oh, thank you.
And people were you know, talking crap. They're like, oh, that girl's so over the top. I'm like, I'm supposed to be. I'm the liar in the movie.
Right. I chose to make it really obvious. Like I chose to make it like I chose to make her kind of a big joke. Also because I think if you do that, if it's so silly and you're going along with it, you don't see the violent ending. Like I think that's kind of fun. Like you don't see that coming. But yeah, I've read into I've like she's the worst actor, and I'm like I'm trying to be like I'm sorry it didn't entertain you, regardless of what I was trying to do. Like I'm sorry that I annoyed you more than anything, but oh well, like I took a chance.
I think that's where people screw up, is because people look at budget and like, well, it's a low budget movie. I'm like, there are some great super low budget movies.
Oh yeah.
And people do not give those super low budget movies a chance because they don't know the actors, they don't know the actresses, they don't know the director. And I think if people be like, oh, that's fun. You know, I go into every low budget horror movie I've ever seen with it was fun. Even if it wasn't scary, you know, and don't get me wrong, there's some horrible ones out there, you know, and sometimes you see the people busting their butt on set. You can tell they're really trying, but like the camera's out of focus, or you know, they're just swamped by. There's one movie I watched a while back, and the whole entire time, all you see is the mosquitoes and the gnats everywhere.
Oh no.
They're trying to film, I think, night in Texas, it looks like. So there's just bugs everywhere. And I'm like, I feel bad for this poor people because they're trying.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And you can tell they're trying, but then you look at the reviews and it's like 0. Or 1, I would give it a 0, but blah, blah, blah. I'm like, there's no budget. I'm like, they probably had no budget. They probably filmed this on like $50, but everybody was there trying. Everybody put their.
Yeah, but how was the story?
Yeah, the story was okay. I mean,
I don't know.
They tried. I always did.
Interesting. It's interesting. That's kind of the way I look at it.
I'm not gonna lie. Alone in the Ghost House is the one I had to tell Brent. I'm like, no. That was when you were in the peacock brawl, and I was like,
yeah, that I gotta tell you, I found that at the mall. In the clearance section, and I was like, I don't even know if this is gonna fit. Like it looks like it probably does, and I think it actually ended up being too small. But it was nobody knew what it was gonna look like. Like nobody knew what kind of thing I had underneath my clothes when I did that. When we did like that scene, and so it was a surprise to everybody. And that was super fun. I was like, how weird would it be if she just had this bizarre peacock bra? Like she's kind of a show person anyway. Like she wants to show off and be super odd. So like, why wouldn't she have a peacock bra?
I love that.
Feathers and all. Thank you.
Yes. Well, you got to stand out. You got to.
Yeah, she likes the attention. So
and especially every one of those shows that I've ever seen, where they bring in the medium or the spiritual person like that, they're all over the top, super over the top and stuff. We were sitting there laughing one day. We're at the shop and Most Haunted came on because I had Roku channel running in the background. And they have that redheaded British woman who's all. I was like, I looked at, I can't remember. I think it was Big Tim. I looked at him and goes, you know, she's got thigh high boots and a riding crop at home. And he goes, you know, she does. It was like,
it's like, you are correct.
Yes, because they're so. You got to be over the. I mean, you feel like you almost have to be over the top if you're doing that stuff,
right?
Yeah.
Well,
part of the job.
The other character.
Yeah. So, 100%. So I got to get back to. I have to ask because I'm watching Calamity Jane's Revenge, and as somebody who's and people, I've been around guns my entire life. I've known how to shoot stuff since I was. You hold your gun so awkward in that movie, and is that on purpose or is it
no
just because?
No, sir.
No, sir.
It is not on purpose. It is. I feel like I don't remember anybody correcting me. I'm not. I have a tiny bit of experience with guns. A long time ago, I dated some. I didn't grow up with them at all, but I dated somebody a long time ago that like to go to the range. And so like I went with him a few times, but I mean, that was so long ago, even relative to when I filmed it. So like yeah, there's one point where like it's like this, like it doesn't even, my wrist is so lit. I'm like, and I look back on it now and I'm like, oh boy, cringe. Not good. She's supposed to be this badass, and I'm like, I don't know how to hold a gun. But yeah, I don't know.
You're trying.
I'm trying. Yeah.
You're putting effort forward, and that is credit right there.
I wish I would have thought about it though. Like I wish I would have, but I just wasn't thinking about it. I don't know why.
See, no, this is when I gotta get past Henrik, because I'd have been like, come here. like this.
Yeah.
Like
make sure she looks like she's seen and held a gun before. This is not good.
Yeah, but it was once I'm just staring at it and I'm like, is that?
Yeah, he would have corrected everybody.
Is that for a reason? Maybe it is. Maybe it's. Am I missing something?
No, you weren't. You were spot on. I had no idea what I was doing. I'm also really afraid of horses. So whenever you see me like around or on the horse, that horse was really sweet though. It was like it was older and it was like really well trained and had been with humans a lot. So she was very sweet. But a horse bit me when I was like 8 years old. I was on a Girl Scout trip and we were riding them, and I was scared then, and the poor horse sensed that I was scared. And so it turned around and I think was just trying to be like, stop. And it nibbled me a little bit. And from then on, I've just been and they're powerful animals too.
Oh yeah. They're 1,200 pounds of
especially
pure muscle.
when you're small and right next to one.
Yeah.
And God help you if you're behind it and they kick you, you know what I mean? Something could spook them. Like they're very, they're powerful. So that's another thing.
Well, even, my cousins and, they all had horses. And they were all in the rodeo and stuff because they lived in Sydney up past there. So they were all country kids.
Gotcha.
And so I was the oddball city one because I live in Pickle. And that's the big
such
city.
A difference.
Such a big city. Yeah. And I would go up there and like my cousin got bucked off of a horse and got kicked and stuff. And he just got up, walked off. I'm like 10 and he's like 11. And I'm like, no, but I'm super, but as everybody calls me Snow White, because animals love me. I can go up there and be like, come here, horse, come here. I'm not gonna ride you.
Yeah, people think that I'm joking when I talk about being married to the male version of Snow White. It is absolutely true. Animals love him. We used to live right on the edge of town, and there were deer, and he could get right up to these baby deer.
Wow!
I'd hand feed them.
Yeah. I have pictures of him standing in front of them. And the worst part is they grew up while we were living there, in the yard. They were in our yard all the time. And the mom would hang out under this big bush, kind of off to the side. So she would watch, but yeah, they would come right up to him.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And the mom trusted him.
Yeah.
Evidently, she would watch. She would watch everything that was going on. But yeah.
That's one reason is I'd be horrible in a Western because I don't think I could ride a horse.
Oh, really?
I could be in a scene, I could be petting it, everything else, but they'd be like, you need to ride that horse. I'm like, do I really?
Does it really want me to? I don't know.
No. I'm good. I can make it look
go ahead. Sorry.
I can make it look like I got off the horse and maybe act like I'm getting on the horse, and then you have a stunt person
ride around that.
Cut around it. Yeah.
I did spend some time over there on the property before we filmed with the horse, and so I got to practice riding and stuff like that. So the hardest thing was just getting on the horse. I had trouble with it. It was not good. I was like, I can't do this in the movie. I have to figure it out. So I had some. I don't have I'm not terribly athletic anymore. I haven't been terribly athletic for a while now. So it's just a different kind of body movement. And I was like, I don't know. But eventually I got it. It just took a while. Took a minute.
Well, we're like I said, I've been going back through watching old movies and stuff like that. And just watching stuff like Ouija Room. And I forgot you're not in that very much. And I'm like,
Yeah.
When did she disappear? I can't remember. I'm like rewatching it. I'm like, you just
Where'd
kind
she
of
go?
leave and
Yeah.
never come back. What?
Uh, the scene that I remember the most was the dinner scene, that gets really intense. Because I'm dating the main character's brother, so I remember that getting really intense. And John Hambrick is an incredibly intense actor anyway, so it was pretty. It was fun to film, but it was also like I said, intense. Like there are a lot of strong emotions in that film, so I feel like maybe you get some bang for your buck there with me. Because we get to see me be highly emotional, but even if it's briefly. Yeah.
We were joking around because we were talking about the Ouija board while we were watching that, and everybody's like, that's. I was like, don't you have one? I was like, yeah, I got one right up there. They're like, how many you got? I was like, I don't know, between me and Tina, like 20. Like, you know, in your house? I'm like, well, not all of them are in the house. I mean, some of them are in storage, but yeah, I mean, what do you do with them? I mean,
Do people ever ask you when you tell them that if your house is haunted? Are they ever like, do you just have spirits around? Because I think people would ask that. I don't know.
oh, the best story is how I got one of the Ouija boards. I got well, I think it was the Egyptian themed one.
Oh, cool.
And but it's instead of being like this way, it's like long. So it's you know. And the guy that brought it in would clean out houses for repossession. So these people, this is an abandoned house up past Sydney. And he goes, well, I found this in the house. He goes, I found something else. He goes, I found a doll. And I'm like, I kind of want to see this doll. So he brings
Put it back.
and
Sorry,
I wanted to keep it so bad, but it stunk so
oh
bad.
no. Yeah.
Because it was still in the box, but it was in the big old looking like Victorian looking dolls.
Yeah.
And it had gotten like mildewy from being
Oh yeah.
in the old house. And I was like, oh, cool. And I opened up the box. I'm like, oh no, you can keep that. I was like, oh, that stinks. And I was like, if not, I would totally keep it. I would keep it in the store. I would never sell it. And they're like, why? I said,
Nice.
I'd tell people it's haunted.
Yeah.
Like tell people
I'd tell people it's haunted.
even
Haunted,
if it
yeah.
was haunted, it wouldn't bother him because he don't believe in it. So
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's good. That's a good way to be. I think safer than believing sometimes.
me, unfortunately,
She'd be like, I'm
I
not
get
going
some
in
of the
it.
backlash.
Like, I am not
Oh.
going in that store if that doll's in here. That's what she would do.
Yeah, I don't. Things that look like I've never liked dolls. When I was little, I loved stuffed animals. I still like stuffed animals. But yeah, when I was little, I had very few dolls because they always freaked me out. I don't like things that look like they should be alive that aren't. Like
Mhm.
like the detailed mannequins and stuff. Like I hate
Okay,
that.
maybe that's why I preferred like the stuffed animals and stuff instead of the like I would have people try to give me like the really nice like dolls when I was and I didn't really like them because
Yeah.
they creeped me out.
I had a very pretty porcelain doll that sort of looked like me that was gifted to me by my uncle. And it was very sweet. But I was really young and I remember hating it from the moment that I opened it. Because it was one of those dolls that like it had the eyelids that
Oh
open and
yeah.
close when you move. And one of the eyelids would always get stuck up and I'm like, I don't know what's going on there, but I don't like it.
But like I love stuffed animals. I wasn't a doll person. I wasn't a Barbie person. I had weird Barbies though. Like I always tell everyone like I had the weird Barbies.
The one
That's awesome.
creepy doll is the one Mom has of me. The baby one that she got made that looked like me when I was a baby. No, no, I don't
like it. I don't
if
like it.
if anything happens to my mom and we inherit her, that sucker's going in the trash. I don't want a baby doll of me.
You just reminded me of something that's kind of related. My mom, I get my spookiness from my mom. My mom she loves horror movies and spooky stuff and Halloween. But she had a painting done by her cousin, who's an artist, and it's her, but her face is like incorporated into a wizard for some reason. Like this, it's like there's like a cauldron and then like a wizard, and it's my mom's face that's just painted into it, and it's horrifying. Like I was always scared of it when I was little. Like it's my mom's face, but I don't know. There's something like really off-putting about it. and it's green and black and just spooky. And I know I'll get that one day, and I'll love it. It'll be fine, but it'll also really upset me from time to time because it
Like,
sat in our. Go ahead.
it'll
Sorry.
go in a room that you never go in. It'll go like,
What happened at our place? Like she hung it up in the first house that I remember living in with my family, and it was always like in the room that we never went into because it was like a formal dining room, and it was in the corner just lurking. Like I hated it. You could see somehow the eyes, you could still see them when the lights were off. Like it was just really upsetting.
So like the old school Jesus pictures that every grandma had in
Yeah.
their house that watched you. My
Yeah.
grandma did a couple of those in tip.
I'm not gonna lie, that's a brilliant idea. Like, get a painting
Mhm.
and then put the glow in the dark white paint in the eyes. So no matter when it does, like flip off the light, the eyes are still staring at you.
Yeah. I always hightailed it out of that room really fast. I was like, I'm not looking at it. I was so scared.
If you don't make eye contact, don't make eye contact with the painting.
But it's weird that it's my mom though. Like shouldn't it comfort me? I don't know. I don't know why.
You posted a picture a long time ago, and I think it was your mom. Is that how much you look like your mom?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
As I get older, I do. When I was little, I was my dad's clone. I was just a little girl version of my dad. But as I get older, I really start to look a lot like her, which is good. Yeah, she's awesome. So I'm glad. Maybe it's all my lifetime of horror stuff. It's like, it's like you're meant to be her, really. Like, yeah.
You're going to do the case of Charles Dexter Ward. You're going to find out that you were your mom your entire time. Wait a minute.
Oh God. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. But thank you.
I don't know. We got people asking if we cloned you for Joe now.
Yeah. Oh my God. Joe gets. I have people to this day who are like, "Is he your brother?" I'm like, "He's my son," and they're like,
"Oh wow,
what?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "He's my son, not my brother." And then I have people that I went to school with, and they run into me like at Kroger's and their stuff, and they're like, "I kind of freaked out the other day," and I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "I saw you walking down the street," and I was like, "Paul hasn't aged a day," and then I realized that's your kid. I went, "Yeah, that's my kid."
That's awesome.
I was like, believe me, I have aged a lot in the last 30 years.
Oh, hey, time does that to everybody.
Remember,
it's all right.
I used to have hair.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
going away.
Oh, it's not bad.
No, not bad at all. Yeah, but
No.
I keep telling her I'm going to shave it all off one of these days.
Yeah, I think like the bald with the beard is a good look, though. I think it's fun.
I want to do this for next year. My goal is I wanted the LARP, and I was hoping to do it this year, but I look like I'm going to try it for it next year. I want to go in to the big battle and stuff, and I want to go in, and I'm getting worked out. I'm going to do this. I want to just get really, really pumped, like for like a month. Just do everything I can to get big and shave my head, and then I just want to stand there and just eyeball one person across the battlefield, and just be like,
"Oh God,"
and just do that to him, and just be like, what did I do to that guy?
Why? Yeah, that would be really fun. Like you have a personal vendetta, and
yeah, that's what I act like.
Has no idea.
Just pick one guy and be like, "What
you
did
have
I
been
do?"
questioning everything they've done in their life. They're like, "Oh God, what did I do?"
I try to figure out for a
Yeah,
long time
yeah,
where they know
yeah.
from, and
Oh my
Did I
God!
cut him off in the parking lot? Like, what happened?
Did I bump his car? Oh my God! Although if somebody did bump the car, I'd be like, "What do you do? Bump the car?" No.
I got so far away from myself through a lot of events that happened, a lot of trauma and stuff. So I've been really working at the ripe old age of 37, working on relearning how to take care of myself. It's been, I didn't realize how self-destructive I was being until this past year. And I remember one day waking up and looking in the mirror and be like, I don't even look like me. Like, I don't even recognize me physically, like emotionally. Like, I need to start taking care of myself. And I finally did. Like, it's taken my friends and my family really being like, we think you have, like, we think you're in trouble. Like, you gotta like You got to start working on yourself and making sure you're okay before you take care of other people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been really difficult. I'm still working on it. I'm not going to say that I'm done learning the lesson, but
we're never done.
You're never done.
No,
I know. We just get to different levels, right?
You talk about that, like going through that, and I feel like that's, cycles in life, because I've been there a few times, and
right.
I mean, you're 37, I got 10 years on you. So I feel like that's kind of normal. It's normal processes. Like, you go through that, you backslide a little bit, you figure it out, you take a few more steps forward. But as long as every time that happens, you can come out a little bit better than you were to start with, you're good.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. That's a good point. I just get very frustrated. You know what I mean? A lot of times, because I'm just like, but I have to remember to be patient with myself. That's another thing, is I'm learning to be patient with myself. Apparently, I never did it. Like, apparently, I just never learned how to be like, good job, like.
That's most of us.
Yeah. But what happened was, I remember this only started happening a couple months ago, really. So this is all very new and exciting for me. But I would look in the mirror and just imagine myself as a kid, like 4 or 5-year-old Erin, and this absolutely brought me to tears. I'd be like, hey, I'm sorry that I've been neglecting you for so long. I love you. Like, you're a good kid. Like, it's just,
I love that. Yeah.
It worked. Like, I was like, oh, it's my inner child that's like hurt. Like, I didn't realize that until recently. So yeah, it's been life-changing. So it's slow going.
Oh yeah.
Well,
oh yeah.
I had that realization a while back. Somebody asked me, they're like, what would 14-year-old Paul say to, what would you say to, or, what 14-year-old Paul think of 40-some-year-old Paul? And I go, 14-year-old Paul at this point would think I'm the coolest guy ever. I was like, everything I ever wanted to do, I've done.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've made movies. I've been in movies. do my thing. I do cartoon. I'm a comic book shop owner. I own an arcade in my house. Everything that 14-year-old Paul would have been super. But then there goes, well, what would have, like, 21-year-old Paul? I was like, 21-year-old Paul would think 50-year-old Paul is a dumbass. because 21-year-old Paul didn't care about anything but himself.
Yeah.
And then he didn't really care about him either. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been an alcoholic. I've gotten clean and sober, and then I've dropped back off. I fell off the wagon. Mm-hmm. And it's usually something dumb, and it's usually depression, because I suffer from depression, and I don't hide that from anybody. And I have my good days and bad days, like some people do, and it's one of the ones where I learned that I kind of stopped dealing with things the way people wanted me to deal with things.
Mm-hmm.
And I started dealing with things the way I wanted to deal with things. Mm-hmm. And not the bad way. It's like people are like, oh, well, and when my grandma passed away a couple of years ago, I was like, people were like, oh, I was like, I went right back to work the next day. And everybody's like, how can you do that? I'm like, because that's where I'm comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And if this would have happened 20 years ago, I would have went to the bar. Mm-hmm. And because I would have had to deal with it a different way. And now I've learned to deal with and cope with things in a better way.
Right.
Yes, the depression's still there. Yes, the anxieties come and go. Like my Comic-Con, I had anxiety attacks and stuff like that, and then I'd panic, and then she'd talk me down, and she's like, it's gonna be fine, you worry at every show. Mm-hmm. Yes. Do you make money? Well, yeah. She goes, then why are you worried? You're gonna do it this time. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, okay, we'll do it this time.
That's good.
It's great when I start hearing him tell other people the stuff that I've told him.
See, any advice I give you is because of her. So
Amazing. I'm good. That's fantastic. It's a great source.
so when you're getting advice from me, you're technically getting advice from Tina. So,
Amazing. I love it. I love the unit of advice. It's great.
yeah.
I just speak the same trauma language a lot of other people
Yes.
speak. So,
and that's why when I tell you to text her, because I get a little like, well, I don't know how to deal with that. So we're gonna send her over her because she knows how to deal with that. See, you get a tag team therapist when you get us as friends.
I am the luckiest person. I'm so glad that we're all friends. Like I know I'm laughing right now, but like I'm laughing because I can't believe that you guys love and support me so much. I really appreciate it.
You're a good person.
Yeah. I mean, that's, that comes back to us too. So,
yeah. Well, we always have the ongoing, I would say it's a joke, but it's not. It's either you love Erin Ryan or you're wrong. And
man.
It's so funny because I still have James Garrett will contact me every once in a while. He's like, "You talked to Erin lately?" I'm like, "Yeah, I just talked to her the other day. How's she doing? She good?" Yeah, I'm like, "Erin's fine." I was like, "We're talking through some stuff, but she's fine, and I'll tell you if anything." Yeah,
that's sweet. Yeah,
James is a good guy. I like James a lot
for sure. Yeah, it's been a journey this year. It's so much stuff has happened. Like I've always kind of had something going on, but this is the first time that I've been able to sit there with it and like process it and learn my like triggers for like I suffer from depression and anxiety. I get depressed because I'm mad at myself because I'm anxious.
I absolutely understand that 100%.
Thank you.
Thoroughly.
So bad. And I don't. And I turn the anger inward. Yeah, I turn it inward. And then isn't anger a lot of times just like sadness? It just comes out in a different. So,
anger is sadness turned inside. Is the I think is what they say.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's true though. Like it's weird. And I was afraid for a while.
Like I think a lot of it just comes from frustration too, and really not knowing how to process or not knowing how to move through something or forward away from something.
I was seeing a really good therapist too for before all this stuff started happening. So it really helped. I was lucky that I had her to kind of help me process things too. And really what I didn't realize I had like a self-esteem issue for real, like a self-esteem and self-love issue. Like I just didn't love myself. I would do all these cool things that you think would make me like love myself. But it felt, and it did, like, I was like, oh, I'm proud of myself, but I never really meant it because I was always like, I want to do more. Like I should be doing more. Like it's really hard on myself for like no reason, and so I just learned I'm really learning to love myself, and hopefully, that means when I'm ready, getting back out there and doing more projects and stuff like that. Because I would love to do that again, because that's a part of me that I will always have in my heart. Like that's a big part of me, and it did bring me a lot of joy. I've been kind of missing for a few years, and I haven't been my best self on the sets I have been on, which is really embarrassing. But that's how I knew I had a problem, is that I couldn't even concentrate on like learning it was much harder for me to like learn lines and to be present. That was the worst part, is the anxiety just caught up with me to the point where I couldn't be present. And if you can't be present in a moment, you cannot act. You can't do it.
Oh yeah.
That's like the key. That's the whole thing. So yeah, I had to figure out why that was happening so much. Like I was just like, well, I'm having a hard time with this thing that I love. Like I love it more than most things, and I'm tripping up on it. I'm not doing a good job. I'm not myself. But I had to learn really what myself was. Like sit with my darkness and be like, okay, why is this happening? Really small child.
Get back there, and you're gonna come back, and it's gonna be awesome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I'm not gonna lie. I do all my shows, and sometimes I can film them. I do several shows a week, and I did 2 shows, and I did not realize I was having a manic attack while I filmed, and I did not realize I had it until I went back to edit, and I went, "Oh, damn!" And so I was like, and I go, "No, I'm going to put this out there. And I put the episode and I put things. I'm like, guys, I'm in a weird headspace. And the next week I go, look, I was like, that episode, those 2 episodes, I was having a manic attack. I was like, I was not there. And I go, and I'm not going to hide that from you guys. And I was like, it's bad that I say this because I don't hide. I don't want to be one of the people that I'm really weirded out by YouTubers who all of a sudden they find out they're like really horrible people and stuff like that. So I'm brutally honest with everybody about even on my shows. I'm like, dude, they're like, how do you deal with this? I'm like, oh, I do an edible. I do an edible.
Yeah.
I have to chill out because if I don't sleep at night. And
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
and so
there are worse things.
Yeah,
exactly.
That I'm not. I am. I wish I would have listened to her so long ago. So long ago. If I would have discovered edibles, I would have never picked up a drink in my life.
Yeah.
Because I don't get depressed. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I do get anxious because I also Tina's like, "What do you want to go? You want to go for a walk?" And I'm like, "No, I'm fine. I'm just gonna stay right here in the basement."
I'm gonna stand right here.
Yeah, he cannot go outside.
No, I don't like going outside when I'm high at all.
I don't blame you. It could be overwhelming, I think.
And it's not even that bad. Although I'm not gonna lie, every once in a while it'll hit me like really hard and really different, like if I change brands or something like that. So suddenly I'll be like, what? And I'm like, everything feels like, okay, no, I don't want to.
Yeah.
See, I'm very opposite. I'm a very social person.
Yeah,
under the influence of
that's
anything.
awesome though. You guys have both. Yeah.
Although I do get bored when I'm high and I'll be sitting there. That's why if you ever get a text from me and it's goofy, or I do, that is 100% because I'll just randomly send her like Instagram videos.
I'm like, are you high?
Yep.
You're like, just checking.
Just checking.
Okay.
Yep. Oh, that is funny. But yeah, are you?
That's really funny.
I did it one time and I came up, I'm like, are you bored? Like, what are you doing?
What is going on?
All I do is I love watching TV and reading comics but then again, that's all I love doing anyways.
Yeah.
All I do is amp it up because I have like 3 things. That's another thing is that I just sort of with ironically a friend of mine I won't put his real name out there, but he goes by the name Dr. Zombo. He's a host and stuff like that. Me and him had a discussion, and he's like, why you worry about what other people think? And she said this to me and stuff, and he goes, just be you and fuck everybody else. And he goes, you're the best you can be. And I mean, I've even said that. I said, you're the best Erin that and you got Tina, best Paul, whatever. We're all the best us that we can be, and that's the best you can do is be the best you. And I can't remember who said it. I think it's like Patrick Stewart. He goes, the only person you got to be better than is you yesterday.
Oh, I love that.
And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I love that.
And he's told me, he's like, I was like, I always try to kind of, I know it's bad because this is literally a scene from Tombstone. I never wanted a normal life. Normal life scared the hell out of me. I never wanted to be a 9-to-5 guy. I never wanted the regular job. I never wanted to live like a regular person. And when I became a regular person, I was that guy who got up every day. I went to job and everything. I went to work I hated and stuff like that. It really ate at me.
And you were miserable.
And I was miserable. And she was one that's like, just do what makes you happy. And I started really kind of like, oh, okay, and now I don't do, everybody's like, people are like, when are you going to grow up? I'm like, never. I don't know.
Right. Look at when we went and seen Stevie Nicks in concert.
Yeah.
And she stood on stage and she talked about how, she thought about it through the years and when she was younger, and she said, if this don't work out, I'll just do something else.
She goes, I'll go back to cleaning houses.
I'm like, I was really good at that.
You're a multimillionaire.
And I'm like, that's awesome, because that's kind of how I've been in my life. Like, if this one thing doesn't work out, then okay, this is interesting. I'll go do that.
Right.
now she's exactly where she needs to be.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I like
Yeah,
that.
it's the anxiety of like trying to make the quote unquote right decision, is just overwhelming sometimes. But that can also keep you stuck where you don't want to be, so it's just
Well,
like,
what's happening with
that's
you.
what happened to me. I was stuck in a dead end job I hated with people I didn't like, people that didn't like me, bunch of backstabbing little bitches. I'm not going to pretend to be nice there. And what's really funny is all the people that were back in are all found out how bad they were after I had left. I actually wanted to thank them. I actually wanted to find the guy who fired me and go up and thank him, because if it wasn't for him, I'd still be in a job I hated. Now I'm happy.
Yep.
And I love doing this. I make more money now than I've ever made, and I do it because I do it because I love it, and I don't care.
That 100%. I think it can be stressful to like start out doing, what you love, because you're always worried about like money and all that. But I don't think you can really go wrong, as far as like your mental health and your well-being. I think the other stuff is, you'll figure it out. It'll be all right.
Oh yeah, because I'm a train wreck most of the time.
It's okay. I think we all are.
We all are.
We all are. But it's definitely one of them things is that I think my happiness has changed the way I look at my friends, the way I look at Tina, the way I look at the kids, the way I look at my parents. And unfortunately, as much as I love my parents, they were also the people that you work a job until you die.
Right.
And,
that's how they were raised.
That's how they were raised.
The mentality.
And so I really could never see where they were coming from, because it's not what I wanted with my life.
Right.
Never. And now.
And then I come along, raised by a hippie who was like,
hippie stoner, and he would
do a fun thing in life.
I come from
that was my dad.
Oh yeah,
that's fantastic.
And then I became her. Her dad became one of my dads, and he taught me in this, and I had so much fun just not caring the way he taught me too. And it was like, oh, this is fine. Oh, cool. All right.
My dad is actually one of the reasons people ask, like, the whole him and I as a couple. My dad is actually one of the reasons that we are still together today.
Oh.
When him and I were on the verge, we were like looking for different places. We had set the kids down, like, this is happening. We were preparing to just call it quits altogether. And my dad got mad at me. He was like, I walked in the house and he literally turned around, looked at me and said, what does that boy have to do to fix it? And I was like, what? You're my dad. You're supposed to be on my side.
What are you doing?
And he's like, I am on your side. Fix it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And, my dad looked at me. He said, okay, right now, look at it this way. He goes, 5 years from now, if you could fix everything and get it, to where, would it be worth it at that point? If you guys worked it out 5 years from now, would you be happy? And I was like, yeah, of course. I do love him. And he goes, then you got to fix it. Figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, okay. What does that boy have to do?
That's always boy. I was always the boy. I was always her boy.
The boy.
From day one. From almost the time we got together, it was pretty much, what's your boy got to do?
That's really cute. That's what I call my cat, weirdly. I'm always like, where's the boy?
I always tell my cats, where's your sister? Where's your sister?
That's funny.
Matter of fact, I don't know where they're at, because usually you can see them. They do not let me record without having to be in the background somewhere.
Yeah, I haven't seen them for a while.
It's the biggest. What are your cats' names? I was like, Lucy and Maze. And they're like, I'm seeing Maze. I was like, oh, Lucy Purr and Mazakine. They're like, wait, we were watching Lucifer when we got the cats.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it.
Oh yeah, but
well, the kids came up with the Lucy Purr.
Yeah, Lucy Purr. Yeah,
that's adorable and terrifying.
Terrifying. Then we got my corgi, and her name was Lucy when she first came. Now she's Lulu. So
that's cute.
but she's my fat corgi.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Corgis are
but
adorable.
I want to put this offer out for you so you can
Okay.
slowly get back into things here.
Okay.
How would you like to occasionally be a character on one of my shows? You can film it where you're at. You can just play and have whatever. You don't have to take nothing serious. And you
Sure.
can just, we'll just use it and then we can edit it in and have fun with it.
I'd be honored. I
Yeah.
swear to that would be amazing.
Although
Thank you. That would be amazing.
I still want one day I got to figure out how I can do this because I want you to play a version of my character, Captain Cartoon,
Okay.
and never once refer to the fact that you're not me. Just do the whole introduction, do the entire episode as if you were me,
Okay.
and never do it. And then the next episode, it goes back to me, and we never say a word to anybody about it.
I love that. That is like
So the only thing is,
amazing.
we'd have to send you a hat and a clutch
Yeah.
T-shirt and a bathrobe
Yeah.
because that's my whole gimmick. So
I mean, I could find those things too.
yes.
I would be happy to work on it.
Yeah, there we go. That's your project. You get
That's
to play a
hilarious.
version. Yeah, because we have this whole thing every once in a while we talk about parallel universes.
Mhm.
So I legit me and Tina do characters called the Doctor and the Witch,
Okay.
and we do our horror show, our horror host, and
Mhm.
we've only done a couple episodes, but we're working on some other ones. But I keep doing it that those are versions of my other people. So each show has a different version of the same person from a different universe.
Oh, weird. That's awesome.
So,
That's
and then
so
I
interesting.
had to wrap. I got my buddy the other day because we love talking about the Mandela effect and all that fun stuff and parallel universes.
That
And
stuff freaks me out.
I looked at him. I was like, "Hey, I just had a sudden realization the other day." And Mick was like, "What?" I was like, "You know how I remember stuff that you don't remember?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "My parents remember stuff that I don't remember, and I remember stuff that they don't remember." And he's like, "Yeah, we talked about that." And I was like, "Maybe this isn't my original universe. Maybe I'm the Mandela effect in this universe." And he goes, "Don't fuck with me, man." I was like,
That stuff
At
is
some point
so
you switch.
interesting.
at some point we
With the other
switched
version.
because there was
Yeah.
another dude that lived close and people would mistake him for me. And so we have the ongoing joke that
I've seen them.
yeah, we
Ooh.
passed each other. We were
That's
driving the
weird.
same car in the whole 9 yards. I was going into Troy and he's going out of Troy.
I don't
And we
like it.
passed each other,
I don't like
and we were both like,
That's
and
very
They did
weird.
not look just a little bit alike. It was people would come up and tell me, I seen Paul and he had some blonde chick getting out of his car. And I'm like, really? When was that? And they're like, Saturday. And I'm like, really? Because we were in Michigan on Saturday. So that's
Right.
not possible.
we
Not
had a
him,
friend
yeah.
walk up to him, get up like just feet away before he realized it wasn't me.
Whoa.
Yeah. So the ongoing joke is that is when we switched universes.
Yeah.
Weird. That's so trippy.
And people are like, "Don't. That's not cool, man." It's like,
But yeah,
yeah, I would love for you to play an alternate universe version of me.
I'm into it.
Yeah,
I'm so far into it. That's amazing.
yeah. And then when you come back, we're going to you're definitely going to work on some projects with us.
I believe me, I would be honored and I'm so excited. That's just another thing that I am looking forward to. I really appreciate you guys.
Yeah. And then Tina needs
Yeah.
somebody to go out and go dancing with her because I can't dance.
I'm into it. I would love that. I don't know anybody that likes to dance. Are you kidding me? That would be so much fun.
I love to dance.
She loves it. I can't
I mean,
dance to save my
I'm not
life.
saying I'm a good dancer, but I have fun.
Not either. It's not like the ballet that I kind of trained in. But it's not good.
Although
Hey, the only thing I remember from ballet is first position plie. That's it. It's the only thing I remember.
That's good. It's good. It's a good start.
Mhm.
although I make the other guys jealous when Tina does go out with her friends and stuff like that because they're dancing and they'll make me go out there and I just stand there like this and they dance around me and then guys look at me, I'm like, and I go back to doing what I'm doing.
That's awesome, though. It's like, what's going on over there?
Don't
What are
you
they
wish?
doing?
We're just ridiculous.
We're just oh my god!
It's all
love
good
it.
fun.
Yeah, as I don't take anything serious. Her one of her best friends, Jen. I give Jen shit all the time and I am totally 100% because I have this kid comes in my shop and he goes, "You're Uncle Paul," and I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "What?" I was like, "How do you know my niece? You know, my actual niece?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, we know the Huber," and oh yeah, you know Jen's, yeah, you know Raina and Olivia and Eden. They're like, "Oh yeah," and they're like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I guess I'm Uncle Paul."
That's sweet. You're like, I guess. Welcome.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been there their
whole
entire lives, so yeah, I'm Uncle Paul.
Oh,
Weird to me.
so cute. I had to readjust my legs.
Great Uncle Paul. That's the really weird one. So
Yeah, that's odd.
yeah, that makes me feel real old. You start doing great.
Just babies having babies. I mean,
Yeah.
they're adults, but
Yeah.
they're still babies.
Like babies to you, yeah. Like
Mhm.
my niece is in her early 20s now, and I'm like, still my baby. Like
Mhm.
I
you're
mean,
not.
my
Yeah.
great nephew is an adult now,
That's
Yeah.
gotta feel
but
weird.
he
Yeah,
he still looks like a 12-year-old, but he's very tall.
I love that.
Yeah.
I
He
love
has
that
a
for him.
very 12-year-old head on a very tall, skinny body.
That's adorable.
He's a sweetie, though.
Aw, that's cool.
See, one of my best friends, he looks at me the other day. He goes, "You do a lot with your kid." Yeah. He goes, "You're like always with your kid." I'm like, "Yeah, but he's an adult." I'm like, "Yeah, we're." I never wanted to be that. Oh, me and my son, we're like best friends.
Mhm.
And I never wanted to be that guy. And then it turns out that one of my son Joe is like my best friend.
Aw, that's good though.
I
That's
love him to death.
amazing.
It made me so sad yesterday because he was supposed to go to the movies with me, and he got sick. And I'm like, "Dude, I'm going to the movies with or without you." And he's like, "I can't go." I'm like, "Your other brother's going, so you got." And he's like, "I don't feel good." And I'm like, "All right, Joe, are you sure? Go home, take a nap. I'm gonna call you at 7:15. The movie starts at 7:30."
You're like you definitely are his buddy. You're just like bugging him, like, come on, you
Yeah,
can do
I
it.
love him. He's literally he's with me 5 days a week, if not more. Plus, we go to the gym together, which is crazy. I never
That's
thought that
awesome.
would be a thing.
Well, he works for you.
Yeah, he also works for me, so that's a different too.
Oh, that helps. Yeah.
Yeah, but what's that? The gym thing is what weirds me out.
Mhm.
The fact that she conned me into going to the gym, and now I love it.
Amazing. No, that's cool.
Because
It's
I'm not gonna lie,
encouraging healthy habits.
I think the last time we hung out, so that a while, I was probably maybe close to my heaviest, and I was closing in probably 250 around there, and now I'm at 170.
Wow.
And now she's kicking butt now, and she's losing weight left and right, and just 50-year-old healthy people. The hell, I don't know how to act. People are like, "Aren't you getting old man?" I'm like, "Whatever." I was like, "I'm stronger and better than you."
I find that as I age, of course, it gets more difficult to like lose weight and everything and keep your weight, off. I wasn't doing very well. Again, that's part of the whole like not taking care of myself thing. I was just neglecting my health a lot earlier this year, especially, and I gained like 35 pounds. Like it was a lot. It was a lot, and I've lost over the past few months. Couple months I've lost almost all of it, which is it's fast. That's fast weight loss, but like I haven't really been doing anything special. It's just I have been just noticing, like what I'm eating and how I'm eating it and when I'm eating it and being like, maybe I shouldn't eat, that list late at night and just stuff that I'm starting to think about that just makes sense. I'm like, oh, okay. So plus I'm less stressed out now. And I think being stressed really keeps your weight on for sure.
Stress eating is horrible.
Yeah.
That was always one of my issues.
Mine
I'm
is
on medication for weight loss now, so
mine is that I went from being really active at a regular job to I just got lazy. I didn't care. I was like, I'm doing what I want to do. And then I realized I'm like, Vince took off running with me one day. And I'm like, I can't get up. And then I'm like, I can't do this. And then she's like, "Go to the gym." I'm like, "I don't know. I go to the gym, whatever." And then I'm like, "No, I love it. No, I love it." I'm like, I got to go.
Yeah.
Pandemic, I had a panic attack going in there because I was like, I can't go to the gym. So what she do? She runs out and buys me a bench and resistance band so I could work out at home.
Nice.
Chilled me out.
Yeah. Oh, that was crazy.
He would have never went and bought it himself. So
no.
I just brought it home and was like, here.
You're going to do this
thing.
from now on. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's good.
And she's like, because I know you would have drove me crazy if you wouldn't have melted. I was like, yeah.
You were driving me crazy. That was the thing.
Got to put that energy someplace.
Yeah.
So.
You got that's another thing. If you don't find something to occupy your time and energy, it's, the whole, the idle hands are the devil's playthings. I mean, it kind of is, because when you're idle and you don't really, you just sort of lose your drive. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did. I just kind of lost my drive, and now I'm like, yay! I want to go do stuff and go hang out and do things and stuff I didn't want to do before, and now I'll go do it now. Shoot, I don't care. It's fun. Except for dancing. That's a her thing. That I can't do that. I look like an idiot. I don't even try.
That's okay. I'm gonna steal your woman.
There you go. Steal
Just for that.
Steal her away. Yeah.
Excellent.
Although if you did steal her away, there's a lot less worse people that can.
Thank you. So good, I guess. Thank you.
You're the one that's okay to.
Okay. All right. The only one. Excellent.
The only one that can steal my wife away.
Excellent. I'm
like,
luckiest.
She'll take you. I'm like, fair.
Fair. It's fine. This is fine.
This is my life now, I guess. I'm gonna go over here.
All right. Let me know if you need anything.
Very lucky. I love you.
See, this is just it. I can give her crap and I can joke around and we can laugh and stuff like that. And it's
the best.
It's just having fun.
You gotta have the friendship,
Yeah. Cause that's another thing. That's a lot of people like, I was like, well, she's my friend too, not only my wife, but we're also not the evil two-headed monster either. So that drives me nuts.
I have my own space.
Yeah.
I send him to his basement.
So I can lurk.
Yeah. There you go. You can spend your time lurking.
I'm done dealing with you today. Go to your basement.
Yep.
You're dismissed right now.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's okay.
She's like, she'll come down. She's like, you want to watch a movie? Yep. Then I'll start. She's like, okay, I'm done. I'm going upstairs now.
It's good to not enmesh too much. That can be trouble.
Yeah.
That can be trouble. Because you're individuals who just happen to be like, making a life together.
Us,
yeah. And see, people ask us that, and they're like, well, I was like, I'm not saying it'll work for you.
Yeah.
It worked for us.
Well, like when we were younger living together, like we would always talk about our dream home would be to buy a double.
Mm-hmm.
And so that we could each have our own like living rooms.
Yeah.
And then just make one big bedroom in the back. But that way we could each have our own side of the house. That would have been perfect.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And then we got this house. Then she took the upstairs.
That's kind of
we have a bedroom upstairs. She has her room upstairs. I have the basement.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part, most of my stuff is downstairs.
There you go. All right.
She doesn't have to trip over it or be buried underneath it one day. And I live in constant fear that there'll be an earthquake one day.
It'll be fine.
I'll be buried under.
Well, your ceiling's short, so
yeah, stacks and stacks of comic books come crashing down on me, or gaming.
He died how he lived.
Exactly.
Buried in comic books.
See there. So we're gonna have to when you get back though, you're gonna play some World of Darkness with us, because you're play World of Darkness. The Masquerade, any of that stuff?
No.
It's fun.
It's fun. All right. You want to let them out real quick?
Yep.
Okay. Oh. No, World of Darkness is the role-playing game for vampires and werewolves and all that fun.
Ooh.
And
fun.
No, World of Darkness is picture modern age. It's like a Dungeons and Dragons game, but you got vampires, werewolves, ghosts, Hunters, which are the demons, wizards, mummies. Yeah, something.
It's got everybody.
Yeah, it's got like everything horrific you can have, and
Fantastic.
it's so much fun.
That
And
sounds awesome.
oh yeah, and Tina used to really get into it because she played a crazy vampire.
I like it. I like it.
Yes,
I like it.
you just
Cool.
hang out down here and game.
Seems like my kind of place. It has is things of interest to me down there.
And then it is. This is there's movie posters. Matter of fact, I get ready to change these. There's books and records and comic books and toys. And somebody asked me like, "Oh, do you film in your store?" I went, "No, I film in my basement." And they're like, "What?
Where?
Where? No, this is where I live. You live there?" Yes, I live
You're
there.
like, yes, it's my lair.
It's my lair. It used to be my lair, and then I go by the name Captain Cartoon. So everybody goes, "Oh, it's the captain's quarters." I'm like, "Oh, I like that."
Perfect. Perfect. Excellent.
But this has been fun
Really?
and
Yeah.
a blast. And shoot, we need to just and until you well, we'll talk about this at the end. But
Merab.
a good night, and